The Golden Share Podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the Golden Share Podcast. I'm especially excited to be here today to talk to Alicia Valdes from Bright Solar Systems. She's in the renewable field and clean tech, so we have that in common. As my viewers might know, I also am a founder, a co-founder actually, of Equal Compass. So like I said, I'm really glad that you're here to join us. And if you can, just tell us a little bit about your personal story and what made you want to become an entrepreneur.
Sure. Well, thank you, Alec, for having me here. I really appreciate it. I'm very honored. And what made me become an entrepreneur is just that passion that I have for, doing what you love to do for a lifetime. And you can only become so by doing what you're passionate about. And in my case, was solar technology. From a very young age, I really wanted to do something for the environment, as well as I was very inclined to high-tech technologies. So solar kind of merged the two for me, and everything else kind of defaulted, through the years. My heart, mind, and soul was well vested in my business before I even opened it 5 years ahead. So my research in the industry started 10 years ago, and that's how I initially became an entrepreneur without really being hands-on in the business until I actually opened it in 2010. But it really helped me learn a lot about the market worldwide and a lot of what moves the clients' motives to move forward with solar technology applications for their homes or their businesses. So just the fact that I can help so many individuals, it's very rewarding for me as a person and for my career. I am also mentor to various students at various colleges and universities in the Tampa Bay area, and we're looking to mainstream that nationwide and worldwide. We had already a few interns in our company previously from New York, from UK, and from Vermont. Therefore, our outreach has been out already for the past couple of years, and we would like to mainstream that to help others become entrepreneurs as well.
Great. And while you're on the subject of being an entrepreneur, is that something that you always knew that you wanted to do, or is that something that came to you through your research? Tell us a little bit about how you actually got to the moment where you knew you really wanted to open up your own company.
Sure. Well, I had my own business previously. Therefore, this is like my second business that I've had and managed. But the first one was import including from Colombia, and I really love doing that. It's like more in the textile fashion industry. But at the same time, I also had this high-techy side of me, and solar was totally, allowed me to merge into all these other industries without, losing that, that passion that I have for fashion. So basically, I always wanted to have my own business from a very young age. I wanted to have 5 different businesses, as a matter of fact, and this is Bright Solar Systems pretty much allow me to have all these businesses and more into one, since we target 18 different industries. So yeah, it's something that I'm highly confident I was born with, and I love the fact that I pursued it and I never gave up. There's a lot of challenges that you have through the process because you're new, or because sometimes you find different types of people too that sometimes encourage you, sometimes tell you not to do it, and you still your fuel, your passion is the one that actually helps you achieve things for the long run.
Well, I'm glad you brought up challenges, because I actually want to get to that next. But before I do that, perhaps you could tell our viewers in the audience a little bit about what Bright Solar Systems does.
Sure. Well, we're a solar client integrator. Basically, we help clients meet with the right solar companies for their projects. And depending on what they are, they could be residential, they could be commercial, they could be utility scale. You name it, up to all the way to automotive, nautical, astronautical projects. We get involved in everything. We want to have our hands in every industry and be able to reach out to as many different minds and hearts, basically, for everybody to be involved with solar technology, because we know we all have different ways of enjoying life, or of basically enjoy hobbies, and the careers are no different. So we just want to have that common goal with everybody to save the environment, and everybody can be involved. Homeowners, as I said before, business owners, they want to reduce electricity costs, and at the same time they want to enhance their PR. So we want to help them with that. And solar companies are also always in the lookout for new markets, if they're brand new in the business, or the ones that are already well vested in time and money in the industry, or have been there longer than us. We would like to help them see other options that there are for their business that they haven't thought of. So we like to expand their markets in different countries and in different areas of populations, or different ways of doing things altogether. That's why we're a consultant, to help them navigate through things that they haven't done in the past.
So, Alicia, tell our audience a little bit about, you mentioned you had some challenges starting the business. I know there always are challenges to start a business. So why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the difficulties you might have had starting your business and how you overcame them?
Sure. Well, just being a minority altogether, it's one of the biggest challenges that we have as women, or as being just simply from another country altogether. There are fewer options because a lot of people think that, oh, she doesn't have the necessary experience, or a lot of things into the equation that are just like mentally generated, but not actually a true fact. So grant funds have been like a major ally for us. It helped us secure a few different projects in different places, because sometimes they do look for minorities, and solar companies sometimes don't have those minorities within themselves. So by being affiliated with us in one way or another, it helps them achieve that project altogether. So yeah, little by little, we were able to gain recognition, and also for people to be able to see what we've done in the past, and see how helpful we can become for their business, and how we can save them money in the initial costs, and how our business is different than many others. So just by doing various projects over and over again, it's how people were able to gain that confidence within me and the company as a whole. So that those challenges were pretty much, I was able to overcome them.
I see that you did overcome some of those challenges for sure. And then, speaking of recognitions, you had written a letter to the president and had gotten a response, and your resume is filled with tons of amazing accolades. Why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the great things that have happened for you and your business since you started the company?
Sure. Yeah. Well, one of the greatest things that we feel very proud of as a whole, as a company, is really the fact that President Obama replied to one of my letters that I sent to him a while back. That was back in 2012, actually. It took almost a year for him to reply, but we were able to get his feedback on what I had to say to him, which was like an honest opinion that we definitely need to do a better job in the U.S. in educating children of all ages, from kindergarten to high school, in science, mathematics, engineering, and everything. Like, basically, it's called the STEM fields, right? So I don't know if you've heard about that, but it's very important that those kids are educated in those fields, just like everybody else in Europe or in other continents. We were like very behind in high school and middle school and elementary school around the whole country. So he took a proactive approach. There were some money that has been like allocated aside for different schools around the nation to promote those fields, and we are very proud that he replied to that letter saying that he took some action on that, and now we're taking advantage of that by going to different schools and trying to teach solar technologies to various kids from various ages, and not only on how to install like solar panel on a home or a business, but how to create a solar boat and how to create a solar plane, just in a little toy size. But that kind of like gives them a little something to think about of the future. What do they want to become when they grow older, or things like that. So we're very thankful to the president that he took that proactive measure approach, and now we're seeing a lot of kids enjoying that education that will give them a great future ahead.
Sure. Well, when I was in junior high school, we made a solar a remote control car in our engineering class, and I still remember that. That was one of the coolest projects we've ever done. So I'm sure that that's the kind of education that's going to really propel renewables and clean tech as a whole into the future.
Exactly. Yes, that's wonderful. I mean, I know that up to a certain scale, we had that in the US, but in very few schools and colleges. And now we're trying to make that a little bit more mainstream, so that way when they reach the adult age or the time to go to college, then they'll have a little better idea of what they're going to do with their lives, not just getting drugs and do all the bad things for society. Instead, do something proactive from themselves as well as everybody as a whole, and saving the planet. So that's going to be a major goal that we want to implant in their brains, that they have to do something for the environment. We're not here for a free ride and just to have fun. Life, in order to truly enjoy it, we all have to be proactive and do something good, do a positive contribution. Small, medium, or large, it doesn't matter as long as we're contributing.
Well, there you go. Get into solar panels and stay away from drugs. That's, I think, the message here from Alicia.
Yes, that's our theme for sure. We definitely want to achieve that goal in the short term.
I want to talk a little bit about perhaps any aha moments that you might have had in your business. I know that speaking with a lot of entrepreneurs, one of the things that they talk about is a time where the business might have either gone from being just a hobby to an actual full-time business, or they wanted to start the business, but it took a while to get that aha moment for them where they knew that they really had something. So I wanted to kind of pick your brain on that and see if you had any one kind of specific moment that you could remember that really launched the company, or kind of how you felt about the company.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I will definitely tell you. It felt almost like a hobby for the first 5 years of my research. I was always working somewhere else because, you have to pay the bill somehow. But my heart and my soul and my brain and everything was already vested in the business. And I knew that one day I'll open the business and I'm going to make it successful because I had that strong foundation from my research. So yeah, during that time, it was definitely more of like a hobby, something that I truly enjoy doing after work, reading about solar worldwide, all the policies, and it kind of sounds nerdy, but I truly enjoyed it. I never felt like it was work for me. It was something like a phase of discovery. Like, wow, I can't believe they can do a solar plane. I can't believe they can do a solar dress. That was like really mind-blowing for me. I was always like a very curious child from a very young age, or a person, and that totally helped me like gain a better perspective of what the future is ahead for solar technology as a whole. And now the first year while I was in business, it almost felt like a hobby too, because you're trying to get that recognition, you're trying to get the name out, you're trying to tell people what you're about, what you're trying to achieve. It was a brand new business model. A lot of people were skeptical about it, and obviously they didn't want to lose anything. But I made it in such a manner where I was the one that didn't mind, doing it for free for, the first few jobs or projects that I was involved with, like putting people together. But then when they saw that, the real value that my business had to them, then they realized, wow, they're really worthwhile, hiring as a consultant. They're really worthwhile, becoming part of their network. And the word just pretty much went across, and we were referred to a lot of different other solar companies and a lot of different other clients. And, it got to the point where, it stopped being a hobby pretty much in like before the first year, because we were able to secure a really nice project, a solar technology park, which is half owned by Bank of America and half owned by the Tampa Housing Authority. And it ended up being a $100+ million project, believe it or not. But it took just one person to really see, our potential and give us the opportunity, because the world is full of a lot of people that, number one, do not see your full potential and do not want to give you the opportunity. So we were lucky enough to meet that person, and that was a project manager for ZMG Construction, which they were actually the general contractor on that project. And then when we were hired by them, we're hired by, at no cost whatsoever. So that's something that definitely liked. We're giving them 3 different bids. So what did they have to lose? Just, see what we have, what we can bring to the table. They made the perfect selection out of the 3, and that solar company was selected, and they performed the solar park. And then years later, they were hired again to execute on a solar building, and the following year they executed another solar building, and the following year another one. So that was a home run project for that solar company alone, and it was a win-win for the client as well, because they didn't have to outsource and try to research solar companies all over again for that first building, second building. The first company that we referred did an amazing job, and that's why they were able to keep that opportunity and the doors open with that same client. And the only way you can achieve that is by really hiring a consultant that truly knows, who is not only knowledgeable in the field, but also honest, and also has the people skills. Because I've through my experience working with various companies, I really got to learn who's quality and who's not so much. So we always pre-screen everybody, and we have very high standards that ensure all these great things that the clients can enjoy, which is a peace of mind, and not wasting time with people that will not do the job right, or will not do the project on time or on the budget that was estimated. So we save a lot of headaches for the long run to a lot of homeowners or business owners. And for solar companies, we just bring them, lots more business than what they can achieve on their own. So it's a win-win for everybody. It's a brand new business model again for the industry, but it's been successful. And, we're looking to replicate that more. And that's how, just by being successful, if you have one component or one project that you can show as display of that success, you can reproduce that, and by reproducing that success, then that hobby becomes, the job or the company that you can build.
So I'd like to ask you, you mentioned a little bit about funding before via the grants, and we talked a little bit about cost analysis for your clients for doing renewables. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about kind of where you've gotten the most support. And if you can just talk about, has your company secured any funding? And if it has it been just grants, or do you have any VC backing as well?
Yes, well, in that particular case, they were grant funded. That same project that I was telling about, half owned by Bank of America and half owned by the Tampa Housing Authority. Therefore, their grants, for example, required us to just only find U.S. panel manufactured products and U.S. manufactured inverters. Everything had to be made in the U.S. So those were things that we had to take in consideration for the client, and those are the things that will make it easier for that project manager too, because they don't have to outsource online and try to find all these specifics, because they can be very how can I say this? They give you a lot of steps in order for you to truly qualify for those funds, and you have to follow them. We also have investors that are available not only nationwide but worldwide, private investors, angel investors, banks too that offer financing. And it all depends on what the needs are for the customer. For example, in some states, there are some banks that do offer financing for their solar panels for their homes. We also have investors in Abu Dhabi that we just got an email the other day where they have trillions of dollars ready to go, ready to invest in solar, in an entire solar city worldwide. So it's just a matter of giving them the right return investment that they're looking for, or sometimes they might need a collateral such as like insurance bonds, or anything that as long as we follow their guidelines, we will be able to match the investor with the project. And some projects may require, different funding than others. So that's why it's important to be part of the network as an investor, because you will be able to find the right clients for you. And if you're a client looking for an investment firm, then it is important for you to hire us as your consultant, so that way we can match you up with the right investor that can help you achieve your goals as far as your project is concerned.
Great. And also, I just want to kind of ask you, because I think this is a question that a lot of our viewers have, and that is a special interest to me, because, this podcast is really all about those who go out and bootstrap their companies and really start with not a whole lot. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how much money it took you to start the company, and if, like I said, if you had any backing from VC, just in the beginning stages of starting the company.
Sure. No, actually, it's really funny. No, I really started from scratch. Like, it was maybe a couple $1,000s. That was my whole funding from the prior jobs that I had. And I just said, this is it. I don't want to spend one more second of my life doing something that I hate. I'm not being honest with myself. Life is too short. I really want to be who I always was meant to be, and I want to just be successful. And the sooner I start, the more knowledge and experience I will gain. So I incorporated my own business on my own. A lot of people hire attorneys to do that, and I do recommend doing that if you have the means to do so. But in my tight budget, I had to kind of do it all myself. So I incorporated as a small corporation. It was a lot of reading that I had to do, because there is a lot of different procedures and forms and different things that you can choose from. So, but yeah, as long as you have a good guide of research, as well as make a couple phone calls to a few individuals that have done this that type of business before, or even close, then you should be good to go. I also created my own website back in the days, and it was quite interesting, because I've never done a website in my life either. But again, the passion, it just helps you make things happen, because it's like either a swim or drown type of situation. And I always thought, I really want to swim and get to the other edge,
Sure. So, just speaking to that, is the business, is it more the journey, or is it the end result?
Well, it's been both, actually. I think that there is never like the end result only until you die. There's always a journey to everything that you start. And, while you're in the path of success, and even when you reach success, there will still be more journeys ahead of you. So I always look for the next challenge. There is no that's it point.
Sure, but I guess what I'm asking is what drives you specifically? Is it more the journey that drives you, or is it just you have like an end goal in your head that you want to get to, and that's the thing that drives you?
I think that both. Again, yeah, I think the journey is always fun, because there's a lot of things that are unexpected that kind of take you by surprise in the path, in the in your way of achieving different things. But the end goal is really to mainstream solar technology worldwide, and makes Bright Solar Systems the largest company that has ever existed on the planet, by hiring as many individuals as possible in renewable technology, with the ultimate goal of truly saving the environment altogether as a whole, but by doing what each of us love doing for work. And that's something that's been very challenging for the past decades, centuries. Everybody works for money. Nobody really has their heart and mind and soul into what they do. Very few do. And I think that if you can manage to be profitable or make a good living doing something that you absolutely love to do, you're truly blessed, and you're lucky to be alive. And that's, what I wanted for me, I want for everybody else. So that's the end goal.
So speaking about talking about the end goal, is there an end goal that you can share with our audience as far as when Alicia Valdes says, "I'm hanging out my hat, I've done all I can here"?
What will be that, like, what will happen on that day, basically?
What is it going to take for that day to happen?
Oh my goodness, I don't know. If I live up to 120, I will still be working then. There is no retirement for me.
The question specifically that I think that would be of interest to the viewers is there a place within solar, within renewables, in the industry that you can get to where you'll say, okay, either the company's no longer needed because we've done what we set out to do, or I mean, it's hard to save the world, right? So the question is there ever anything that's going to be close enough in your lifetime that you see that's going to say, okay, I've done all I could, and here's what I have as far as end goals to show for it. I'm just trying to kind of pin you down on whether there's anything that you can see kind of in the future, which is going to say that, yep, my job is done here.
Well, believe it or not, the business model is for 100 years. So I do have it for my, the following generation and, my kids and the grandkids if I ever have them. So I think that, the job will be done when we will totally transition from fossil fuels to solar technologies altogether, and that might happen in 100 years. So I will not be on this earth when that will happen. I want this to progress even after I will no longer be here, but I want the work that I've done while I was alive to really resonate for many years, decades, and generations ahead. So I don't see my job being done in the next 100 years.
As I'm hearing you saying it, it doesn't sound like you think that in the next 100 years will be completely renewable. You think that it's going to take a little bit longer than that to actually be 100% renewable.
Yes, maybe I will say 2150.
Well, there you go. There's definitely a prediction. Um, But I'm glad that we actually started talking about kind of the industry, specifically renewables. So I really wanted to find out exactly what it is that actually drew you to renewables specifically. I know you touched on it already, and there's the environmental factor. But in my experience, when I've met with people that are in the industry, there's always something else that drives them as well. And I know, once again, you mentioned education, so maybe you can kind of speak to where you see renewables and education and governmental policy on those intersect.
Sure. Well, yeah, when I was very young, at the age of 5, I will say, I was shown the globe and the planet, and that we should save the environment. And that concept kind of like got through my head and my heart like right then. So I kind of want to do the same thing to as many kids as I can worldwide, because that's where it starts. As I said, I even planted my first tree when I was 5 back in Romania when I was moving to Colombia with my family. So it starts at a very young age, and the policy that we can implement as far as making renewable, or especially solar technology, more mainstream in the state of Florida is by educating everybody of what our options are as consumers, or what our options are just as human beings, citizens of the planet. There is a huge misperception of why solar is not viable in the state of Florida. And a lot of people believe that it's because it's not cost effective, because that's what the media wants them to believe. But the honest truth to that is why California is being so successful. Why is New Jersey being so successful in solar technology? Because they do have the right policies to implement solar technology. We're here in the Florida state, we are state that it's pretty much owned by monopolies in the utility industry. So they want to apply solar, yes, but in their terms, buying their own solar fields, not really allowing a decentralized market to take place. And a decentralized market means you being the homeowner or me being the business owner that would like to just be either completely off the grid or be partially still hooked on the grid, but allowing us to sell to each other the electricity that is performed by our solar panels or selling it back to the utility grid. That's something that we are not allowed. It's against the law to do here in Florida, where in other states they are pro allowing individuals and businesses to do that. So that increases the amount of investors that would like to be part of that venture or business model, and that's why they attract more business for solar technology altogether. And
I just want to pause you there for a second and just tell our viewers a little bit about the specific policy that you're talking about right now, which is net meterings. I know me and you have spoken about that before, and for those of the viewers who don't know what that means is that you can actually sell a surplus of your electricity back to the utility and actually end up making money from your system, as opposed to just basically getting credit to zero out your electricity. And that's the kind of policy that will maybe tip the balance a little bit for residential and, like you said, small businesses to take on projects like that. So I just wanted to kind of let our viewers know a little bit about the specific policy that you're talking about, and maybe have you tell us a little bit about where that progress is in the state of Florida where you are.
Yeah, well, we've been we're not lobbyists, but we've joined lobbyist groups such as FAIR, and that's the Florida Alliance for Renewable Energy, and also Citizens for Clean Energy, and a few others that were like gathering signatures from as many people as we can, because there is like a ballot taking place in 2016 about improving all these policies for Florida in order to allow us to truly sell that electricity back to the utility grid, or even just sometimes keeping the incentives that were provided by the utility companies, which are due to expire next year. So those were a lot of things that have been, changing for the past couple of years. But now with the prices dropping like more than 50%, then we are thankful that we're not going to need those incentives much longer. So, but yeah, we're there's still a lot of work ahead to try to talk with both the House of Representatives and the Senate, and try to get them to see the true potential that we have as a state. It's kind of like, okay, yes, we're not gonna be able to make as much money in fossil fuels and nuclear energy, but we will be able to make a lot more with solar technology, and we will be able to employ. Yeah, there are going to be people that are going to lose their jobs in the utility sector, but it's going to create jobs in the solar technology sector. And those people that were working for utilities can easily work for the solar companies as well. So it's a transition of jobs, but everybody can learn new skills and can be proud of their jobs. We're just transitioning into a new era as a whole, and that's what they have to understand. And if it's like just money concerned, we can make so much more, in the solar industry. Sky is truly the limit. The sun, it's the best natural resource we can have without contaminating the environment to produce energy or electricity.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think one of the things that people in this country might not know is that if just 10% of the state of Nevada, there specifically the deserts, the 10% of their state that is desert, was used to put up solar panels, we would have enough power to actually power the whole country. So there's definitely quite a bit of misdirection by oil and gas and some of the other lobbying groups regarding kind of what the value of renewables is and what it could be in the future. But I think that that the media aspect of it is something that we can probably talk about, but it's kind of a whole separate beast of its own. And there's so much kind of back and forth within that, and people blaming each other. So it's kind of, it's a little bit of a hazy kind of area. So I'd rather just kind of stay away from that right now. I do want to ask you, what do you see is the company's value within the solar industry?
Certainly. Well, I think that we are a major component to bring a lot of key individuals together worldwide to reach a main goal together. And those are people that have power, that have influence, that have ethics to their business. I think that if you don't have the ethics, you don't have anything. As much as you can have all the skills of the world, you can have a lot of experience, you can have a lot of projects, but some companies, unfortunately, are not ethical, and we truly want to get together with those who are and reward them by getting them in projects where they can pretty much excel and get a greater share in the market and showcase how good they are as a great example of a solar company. So, and we are also giving a lot of opportunities to individuals that are just new in the field to learn and distinguish who is quality and who is not, or what type of things should they look for when they get involved in the solar industries, as far as which type of network should they join, which type of knowledge should they acquire, and which type of companies have been successful, and which one should they learn from or stay away from. So we're kind of like that airplane that shows people the views around. Okay, you see that area or this area, there's it's kind of showing them where to do a solar field, for example. If we see trees, that's like a no-no from the airplane. We're not destroying habitats, we're not cutting trees in order to do a solar field just to make for the sake of making money. And those are the things that we want to highlight to, from kids to even adults that own businesses, because some do not have those ethics strong enough for their business. They still put profit first. So we do not, and we want to share the importance of not doing so, because in the long run it's going to hurt us. So yeah, we bring the ethics to the table in everything that we do, and we always try to be as fair and as professional as we can, so that way we can show a great example for, since we're trying to get into the educational part of solar technology from a very young age. The best way to really showcase what you're all about is by giving a great example. So we have a very strong foundation on that. And that's something that it's lacking worldwide right now. There is a lot of different laws that have not been implemented. Therefore, we're reaching out to different law firms as well. So, for example, attorneys have not been very acquainted with solar technology as of yet, because they're all like doing different types of like litigation and patents for other types of industries. But as solar is becoming wider and bigger and larger, we definitely need their help. So we're trying to reach out to as many law firms as possible in order to get them acquainted with the idea of, you need to be certified in solar technology litigation matters, or help solar technology customers that are like coming up, or in contact with not very ethical or honest solar companies, to help them mediate any issues, or bring justice to the table. Or sometimes just as simple as trying to get a patent put together for a new invention in solar technology. We need those attorneys that specialize in solar patents. Therefore, that's something that our company found a true value in emphasizing. So we want to make sure that whoever is pursuing law studies, or anything related to becoming an attorney of any kind, to keep in consideration this as a career, because there will be a lot of opportunities out there for them. So yeah, that's we bring a lot of things to the table that have never thought possible, and now we facilitate people meeting each other and getting the right market for each individual industry per se.
Based on the years of research that you have done now, and also the 5 years that you've been basically in the industry as far as work experience, where do you see the solar industry going over the next 5 years? And then if you can, boot it to the next 20, 25 years as well. So kind of give us your landscape for the future of solar over the course of that time period.
Sure. Well, definitely in the next 5 years, I see a lot of residential solar projects taking place and a lot more mainstreaming of commercial rooftops and hopefully a lot more utility scale, but in the right places, not by destroying habitats. Hopefully, we'll be able to get the word across worldwide of the need of truly respecting the trees that are alive, the habitats, the animals that are in those places, and not put profit before the lives of others. And I believe that in the next 20 to 25 years, we're definitely going to be merging more into applying solar technology into vehicles and planes and boats. And we will see that more often, and it's not going to be such a strange alien spaceship for us anymore. A lot of people see this solar boat and they think that they came from Mars or something. So it's going to be something that a lot of kids are going to look forward to becoming when they grow up. A mechanical engineer that specializes in solar boats or solar cars, maybe a broker of solar boats, you name it, sky's the limit. You can become so many different things just involving solar as a whole in different fields. So I see that maybe even more like even a solar spaceship in 25 to 30 years from now. Why not? Those are things that are going to become more mainstream. Solar satellites, they're already in existence, but they're going to be in a much smaller scale. And private companies will be able to buy them more than just Google and Facebook, or these large giant companies that are very well known already. But smaller companies, like medium-sized companies, will be able to fund their own solar satellite and have their own information in there. So that way it's not so compromised and not so well known to the whole world, what they're doing, even though I think it's good to be regulated still, but there's also great to have some privacy to some extent.
Absolutely. And I think the final question of this podcast will be, if you can, speak to us a little bit about the support that you've received from the solar community, because I know, in every industry, there's kind of a community that goes along with it, and you find different levels of support in different places. And as someone who's in, the renewable industry as well, I know that there are some very strong vocal niches, within the industry where you can find support for businesses like ours. So, speak to that a little bit and where you see the majority of that support coming from, what part of the community, and maybe how you see that evolving as well.
Sure. Well, as I said, FAIR, it's a great organization that has helped me from the very beginning. They used to do, how can I say this, different site visits that integrated solar technology around the state, in Tallahassee, in Jacksonville, here in Tampa, in Orlando. Therefore, at the beginning stage of my business, that truly helped me meet the local individuals that are ready to that proactive approach towards solar. And it also helped me meet a lot of solar companies that I was able to get into the network, and a lot of different other clients that were maybe looking into integrating solar technology. Therefore, Florida Renewable FAIR, it's Florida Alliance of Renewable Energy. And they are extremely successful in the state of Florida, and I will always support them until the end. Mike Thiel was the president, or the director of the organization, and it's somebody that I have a lot of respect for, because he really helped me get to the next level with that. Another help from the community is being through schools. It's been very mutual there because we offer internships to the University of South Florida as well as the University of Tampa. Latest university that we've been in talks with is the Florida Polytechnic University, which is a brand new and gorgeous state-of-the-art facility going towards Orlando. It's more likely in Lakeland. But it's been a great experience. I've been able to talk with a couple individuals there and see how we can merge Bright Solar Systems with their students and get them hands-on with some projects and meet some of the other students from UT and USF. We're a great place to meet various individuals from different mind frames, from different schools, from different ethnicities, different skills. So that's something that no other job really offers to people. And I think that that's what the community sees in us to help us. And those internships have been a great win-win situation for everybody because we help those students learn how to get started in their careers by simple things as setting up their own LinkedIn profile, what they should say, how they should dress, how they should interact with others, how they should send a professional email out, or even just be able to do public speaking. And those are things that at a very young age you're very shy about, you're not very sure about, and I am a great mentor to them. So the community helps me by putting all these great skilled minds together for our business to flourish, and at the same time we give back to them by polishing those skills, you know what I mean, by softening any rough edges, if I can say it. I don't know, for a better lack of words. I think that's pretty much what we do with them. A lot of people have the potential and have the skills, but they just need that little extra push or extra incentive to do better and a reason to do better, if that makes sense.
And, I just want to talk a little bit about the solar plane, because you mentioned that, I think, about 4 different times this podcast, and how planes are going to integrate with solar technology. And I just want to kind of mention, and we'll put some links down below this podcast for the Solar Impulse Project, which both I know me and you are quite familiar with. I met those guys over at Energy Week a few years back, and I got to tell you, you won't meet any more professional and really nice stand-up guys. The guys that are doing this work, and obviously the women as well, just the folks over there are really special, and they're doing really great work. I think everybody's really proud of the achievements that they've been able to kind of get just with this first solar project. And I think that just shows viability within, aviation for more solar applications. And like I said, I know that you had a little bit of an experience with those guys as well. So if you want to just mention anything that that you have about Solar Impulse as well.
Sure. Yes. Well, I've been in talk with them for the past 4 years or so. I originally reached out to them to see if there was any possibility to bring them to Tampa and do a little flyby to, here around the airport, the Tampa International Airport. And they said, sure, we'll be more than happy to if we put an event together. So we were in talks to do that, but at the same time they had something starting in Abu Dhabi, and they succeeded. That's with a Solar Impulse too. That's the second plane that they came up with. It's a 2-seater, and it also kind of allowed them to really do a run around the world, like through the oceans, because this first one that they had, they were only able to fly on top of, or just plain earth, but not the sea. So this plane has a much bigger capacity, and they wanted to pretty much do the whole entire planet Earth without a drop of fuel. So that's pretty challenging, and I was like, wow, you guys are amazing, and hopefully in the next year or two we might bring them to Tampa. And Mr. Pickard is the pilot, and he's very nice, amazing person that just had this vision a long time ago, and obviously it took him a lot of naysayers, in front of him. No, that's never going to happen. And I've heard him sharing this story. The same thing that everybody goes through. Unfortunately, unfortunately and unfortunately, life is, full of both people, the ones that want to help you and believe in your passion and want to be part of it and want to help you become successful, want to be successful along with you, and those others that not truly believe on who you are or you can achieve or don't want to be part of it. So he encountered both individuals as well, and he was able to show them, prove them wrong, that that he was able to do it. And now we also provided them some funds for education. They're also reaching out to various schools around the world and teaching them how to build that solar plane. That's the only one of its kind, of that size and of that type of performance. But we do want to help mainstream those by getting investors that would like to invest in those type of technologies. We've also talked to Mr. Domjan, and he's trying to create solar stratus, which is another solar plane that will reach the highest altitude in the entire world. They're not so much about like going from A to B without the drop of fuel. They're about like how high can I go in a solar plane, above the stratosphere. So that's one of his main goals as of now, but he was the one that originally created the solar boat, the Planet Solar. That's another amazing story. I was able to Skype with him a few years back, and he was telling me what prompted him to do that, right? And he was just telling me that one time he was on a trip in the Arctic, and he was seeing all these poles melting down, and he's like, oh my god, I have to do something for the environment. Everything is gonna be melted, and you never know, we might have floods and everybody will cease to exist. So I need to do something about this. And he created that solar boat out of his mind that day. And then that was in 2002 or 2001, and he ended up making it through basically around 2010, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And I ended up going to Switzerland, to Geneva and Lausanne, to meet with his partners. And I even interviewed Mr. Pascal Gaulpier about his journey and where they've gone and all the things that they've successfully completed. And they did like a whole tour around the world with that solar boat. And now it's like set for expeditions in places such as Greece. They pretty much go deep into the ocean. Somebody just jumps down there and find treasures. So that's what they're using the boat for over there right now. But we would like to maybe bring it to Florida one day and hopefully do like a fashion show on top of that boat, with some solar clothing, something very nice, unique, and different. And hopefully the population will be ready to see something very high tech and cutting edge like that by the time we'll get it together. So yeah, it's been quite a journey meeting all these individuals that have made so many things that are outside of our minds to make through already. So
so it's been a really great segment to be able to talk with you. I want to really thank Alicia Valdes from Bright Solar Systems for joining us today. And I think we'll expect for you to do really great things for the country and for the world in solar. So once again, thank you so much.
Thank you, Oleg. I appreciate you having me here and being able to share with the world what's deep in our thoughts and our hearts, and hopefully the whole world will come and join us. This can only get better, and we can't make it alone. So we definitely need a lot of help from a lot of individuals. But I'm sure
that's right. And maybe now that the Solar Impulse 2 guys will hear this podcast, maybe they will be able to make a trip down to Tampa. You hear that, guys? Make a trip down to Tampa to see Alicia.
Yes, thank you, Oleg. I appreciate it. We definitely look forward to meeting them with open arms and open hearts, and sure kids and adults and everybody will love to meet them just as much as I do. So, and you will be here too, for sure.
I will absolutely be the first one there. I will be in the front row with you, and I'm really excited. And once again, thank you so much for the time that you gave us today, and we'll look forward to speaking with you soon.
Thank you, Lex. Same here. Have a wonderful evening.
You too.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.